Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Baghead, a supernatural, spooky horror movie by Alberto Corredor, whose work I'm not familiar with, so I can't really speak to, but I did enjoy this movie. It is a very neat film.
Yes.
It is about a woman who inherits a pub from her estranged father, but finds out very quickly that inside this pub, in the basement of this pub, is a shape-shifting creature named Baghead that can communicate with the dead. So, say you want to talk to your dead relative, it will transform into that relative and you can communicate with it for a limited number of time, but not without consequences.
Yeah.
Not the least of which being that she doesn't realize that by inheriting this pub, she basically can't leave there as long as Baghead is there.
Yeah.
And Baghead is also tied to the property, so they can't leave. And if it leaves, there's like a nebulous concept of like something bad will happen. Yeah. But it's not really defined.
Yeah. It's basically like you do not want this thing walking around is what's implied.
They do answer a lot of questions you will have about this by the end of it. And all stakes are made clear by the end of the movie.
Yeah. One of the things about this movie going in is I thought it was going to be a way more like arty, metaphorical journey.
Not really.
No, this is much more like The Grudge.
Well, yeah.
You know, like you have a situation, you have an evil thing, and it's literally just about how these characters deal with that evil thing.
It reminds me a little bit more of movies like Dead Girl, where it's like you have these people and they have a thing trapped, and it's all about the morality of what follows after that.
Yeah, but this is not so much about morality so much as it is, don't do that. You know,
to be fair, that is kind of like the kind of moral play, because the characters themselves ask themselves as the movie's going on, what should we do about Baghead? Like,
right, but it's not like Dead Girl where it's like the metaphor is misogyny.
True. But there is that kind of like moral question of like, oh, well, I'm very poor. Should I use Baghead to make money?
Make money, yeah.
Something that apparently the dad did at one point. That's the way Dad did it.
That's the way Dad did it.
That's the way America does it.
And he died, you know?
And it worked out pretty terribly so far. But the other thing that is very troubling about all this is that Baghead clearly haunts whoever owns the place.
Yeah.
You are its, like, keeper.
Yeah.
And it resents you for it because it wants to be free, so it does everything in its power to make your time there miserable.
Yes.
And so you basically have to live constantly, like, looking over your shoulder because you never know when it's gonna fucking, like, beguile you.
Yes,
you know? Like,
yeah. It will do what it can to fuck with you, because what else is it gonna do? It wants to be out, it does not want to be here.
No, it doesn't. It does not. And there's a question throughout the entire movie over, like, should it be let go? What are the consequences of that? The dad and everyone in their line of family that has owned this pub and held the Baghead within the basement all seem to believe that something truly terrible would happen.
Yeah.
If they let it free. But is that true?
Yeah. It's also, actually, that might be a spoiler.
We'll go more.
Yeah. Because like one of the things about this movie is it does do a switcheroo on you.
It does. It does a couple switcheroos on you.
Yeah.
Not just with Baghead, but some other characters have like some switches. What I really like about this movie is it kind of starts off as one type of movie and then has an abrupt shift into another type of movie, but it feels perfectly natural.
Yeah, I brought up The Grudge for a reason, because The Grudge is, like Baghead, The Grudge is not a morality play. It's not about, oh, you did this bad thing, therefore you deserve it.
Fair, yeah.
You know, it's much more about, nah, man, this thing's evil. This thing's evil. You were fucked the minute you showed up, you know?
I do love how fucking evil and manipulative Baghead can be.
Yes.
Which on the surface, when you first meet Baghead, you get the impression that it doesn't have a mind of its own.
Right.
But then over the course of the story, it becomes very clear it does.
Yeah.
And it is smarter than you.
Yes.
Do not underestimate it.
Yeah, do not underestimate this goddamn thing. It's way cleverer than you are.
I also love all the effects of it transforming into people.
Oh, God.
Now, they obviously had a cool little conceit, so they didn't have to do the more complicated effect of a face shift.
Yeah,
by
putting the
bag over its head.
Yeah.
But the actual, like, contorting of the body and the breaking of the bones to readjust to the new forms.
The body actor that plays Baghead is great.
It's so good.
And the effects that they use are also really great.
100%.
Yeah, every time Baghead moves, you're like, God.
Yeah. And the sound effects, too.
Yeah.
The crackling and shit. Ooh, so good. So fucking good. This movie is a truly unique gem, and it's going to be easy for a lot of people to miss it because I'm pretty sure it's a Shudder original, so I don't think it had a theatrical run, but it's the kind of movie that if it was on TV, you would have watched it, been like, I've never heard of this, but wow, this is really good.
Yeah. It's like a movie that you would have found on cable, you know, and you've been like, holy shit, why has no one else seen this goddamn thing?
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Which is why we are recommending it to you. It's currently available on Shudder, and I'm pretty sure you can rent it on some other platforms too. And if you don't have Shudder, I recommend you do rent it because it's really good.
Yes.
And with that said, it's hard to talk about the second half of this movie without getting into spoilers, so let's just get into it.
It's a movie that is all about its twists and turns.
Yep. So, now that you know all that, let's get into the spoilers.
All of the characters in the story reveal their true nature throughout the course of the story.
Including the main character.
And including Baghead.
The main character starts off as a down-on-her-luck, poor woman who doesn't have a job, doesn't have an apartment, and is looking for a place to live. Inherits this pub from her what she thinks is a deadbeat dad, but it turns out was stuck here because of the Baghead.
He's stuck here because of Baghead, and he couldn't figure out like how to leave.
And so at the beginning of the story, your sympathies are kind of with her because she needs help. She needs to like get her life in order, and the pub, if it wasn't for Baghead, might actually be a good way to do that. But then she starts using Baghead, like the boys in Dead Girl, like just using it to her own end.
Yeah.
The first opportunity this character gets to have someone pay her to use Baghead to talk to their loved one, she takes.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that her best friend is like warning bells. Like she's the one sitting there going like, no, you should get rid of this. You should sell this place.
Yeah. The friend is the voice of the audience.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, no, don't do this.
This is not
really a bad idea.
You're tampering with shit you shouldn't tamper with. No, I'm going to get the money. I'm going to get that bag. You know, so she reveals her true self.
Yeah.
You have the guy that she sells, not Baghead to, but sells an opportunity to use Baghead for.
Yeah.
Who's trying to talk to his dead wife, but then we find out quickly that it's not because he misses his wife. His ego can't let him go without finding out who his wife cheated on him with. And we find out real quickly that it's because of him his wife died in the first place because he drugged her. She got in a car and died in a car accident because she was drugged.
Yes.
Ultimately leads to him trying to kill the main character by the end of this movie, by the way. So that's the fucking, like, big reveal there. The best friend kind of stays being a good person.
Yeah.
Up until the very end.
Of course doesn't live.
But that ends up leading to her death. Baghead manipulates the situation to get her stuck down there with her.
Yeah.
And Baghead's true nature is revealed. Baghead was a witch.
Yep.
Back in the Middle-ass Ages. She had the ability to communicate with the dead. When people found that out about her, they tried to kill her.
Yep.
But then realized real quickly they could use her. So they chained her magically to this location and then started using her to sell to people to talk to their loved ones.
Yep.
She became a commodity. She became an asset.
Yep.
That was passed down through generations from this one, I guess, what would you call it? Like, it was like a group, like a brotherhood of people that have been passing her down to generations, and eventually it landed on her father and then landed on her. And it turns out the dude who fucking like gave her the deed and all that stuff was part of that brotherhood that like maintains and keeps that thing chained in there because someone's got to watch it because they don't want it to escape, because they believe if it escapes, it'll wreak its vengeance upon the world that fucking captured it.
Yeah.
And they're not wrong about that, but they also deserve it.
Yeah. By the end of the film, Baghead has basically killed everybody and walks out the front door.
And you find out that everything that happened in the movie was completely manipulated by Baghead.
Yeah.
The father dying and the deed going to her. Having that guy come to try to talk to his wife, and then manipulating that guy to where he tries to kill her, as well as killing the best friend. All of it was manipulated by Baghead as one elaborate fucking escape plan.
Yeah.
It was the great escape.
Yeah.
With witchcraft.
Yeah, yeah. And that's when you realize, when the movie twists, you're like, oh, wait, the main character of this story is Baghead.
Yeah, it's not the main character.
Baghead's actually the protagonist.
It's actually Baghead.
Yeah.
And it has a very good for her ending.
Yeah.
When everyone dies.
You find yourself going like...
The biggest twist at the end of this movie is when the main character falls off the top of the building and goes kersplat and is just dead. And you're like, wait, whoa. What the fuck just happened? The situation was manipulated by Baghead in such a way to where, in order to get what he wants, the guy that kills her, he has her turn into her. But then she owns her own deed and she can walk out free.
Yeah.
She gains control over her own property, that is herself, because she turns into the owner.
Yeah.
And with that alone, she's able to fucking break the contract and escape because, she's free. She is literally her own keeper now.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen to this world, but pretty sure it deserves it.
Yeah. After what you find out, you're like, oh no, I'm not on any of these human sides anymore. I'm on the witch's side.
Yeah. Yep.
Fucking great ending. And not anywhere near what I expected this movie was going to be.
No. The minute the old main character died, I was like, what?
I was expecting a lower key version of Talk to Me.
Yeah, something like that. But it's like, oh wait, she's just, wait, what is this guy doing? Wait, what?
Yep. It's so good. It's a really fucking good movie with a very surprising ending. And every twist and turn got me.
Yes, I did not see it coming because they do such a great job of getting you to believe the dude.
Yeah, and believe all the characters.
Yeah.
In their own little lies they tell themselves, right?
Yes.
Because they're not just lying to everyone outside.
Yeah, they're also lying to themselves.
Which makes them easier to manipulate.
Yep.
You're much easier to manipulate if you think you're a good person.
Yeah, but turns out the original main character is greedy.
Yep.
The dude is an abusive ass.
He is an abusive murderer.
Yeah.
Straight up. And the friend turns out to just be an actual good friend, but that ends up being her downfall because Baghead uses that against her.
Yep, nope, Baghead just wants out.
Because Baghead, still's got her own priorities.
Well, like a good person might have done the quote-unquote right thing.
Yeah.
Gotta get rid of her.
Ultimately, she wasn't going to be able to help the situation either. She was just in the way.
Yeah.
She needed the situation to play out the way it did so that she can take control of her own contract.
Yeah.
The friend that was actually trying to, do the right thing was getting in the way of that.
Yeah. Fucking things up. Trying to get her to leave.
Yep.
Trying to get her not to use her for her powers.
Yep, which would have fucked over the whole plan.
Yeah, no, she gotta go.
The other thing is that the main character constantly does not follow the fucking rules.
No.
And started to irritate me with how often they would just flagrantly just ignore the rules. And I'm just like, come on, man. This isn't fucking like your high school principal's rules. This is fucking like magic rules. You can't break magic rules.
Yeah. First of all, you're not a magician.
Yeah.
You got no hope.
You have no magical ability. Maybe other people in that brotherhood do, but you don't.
You don't. And look how well it worked out for them anyway.
The funny part is that half of the shit about the backstory, the main character doesn't learn, the friend does.
Yeah.
And the friend dies before she can learn it. That's mainly for the audience's benefit.
Oh, yeah. It's totally for the audience's benefit. Just so you have an idea, what's going on so the ending hits.
Absolutely.
This is a pretty fun movie.
Yeah. And I didn't expect it to be so fun by the end.
Yeah. I expected it to be something way closer to Talk to Me.
Yeah.
Like you said. Or,
which would have been fine, but I really liked that this was something different.
Yes. A story all about, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
What if you had a cast of characters that did everything wrong, everything they weren't supposed to? By the time you realize that Baghead's the real protagonist, you're like, oh.
Yeah. It all comes together.
It all comes together.
It's all going according to Keikaku. Anyway, my fellow gorehounds. Where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can find me here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when I stream. We talk about horror movies, counterculture things, and occult and mythological matters, all sorts of great things like that. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, also at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I stream whatever video game I am playing at the time on Twitch. That is, my account there is Count_Jackula.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, Instagram, whatever. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go $1 a month, it can go a long way. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag #AllAccordingToPlan. Use the hashtag #AllAccordingToPlan, that way I know. That way Jack knows. That way the whole world knows that you're gonna get fucked over by Baghead, and you probably deserve it. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.